Dear students, welcome to our class on Micrometeorology of crops, temperature 5. In this class, we are going to understand and discuss what is specific heat, heat capacity, thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity, just which we have discussed in the basic course as well as in the advanced. However, from application point of view, we are trying to understand these terms just to apply the basics. Okay, applying the basics applications. With reference to the applications, first how we can certain crops like potato, maize, how they are responding to the soil temperature. One example. Second thing, how the ways of how we can regulate the heat. Heat is the energy, how we can regulate the heat and how we can modify the thermal properties. From this angle, we are going to understand the basics in this class. Now, here, as I said, the soil temperature plays a significant role with reference to high altitude areas, not latitude areas. High altitude areas, that means in the mountainous regions or in the high altitude areas, particularly high altitude areas. Let us see like this. Now, high altitude and mountainous areas, why and how? That you should know as a PG student or PhD student. Now, see, as the height increases in the troposphere, temperature decreases. Here, what is very, very important is the areas facing the equator and opposite. They have different flora, fauna and animals. Okay. See, the germination of seeds, from the germination of seeds to vegetative phase, reproductive phase, maturity phase, all these things are controlled by air temperature. That is why in the plant-water relationships, earlier, the pioneers of soil, plant, water relationships, they were always mentioning, yes, we take only air temperature and all the other weather elements follow that one, like that. However, they also agreed, say in the 1850s, this was the philosophy. Air temperature was the basic philosophy for soil, plant, water relationships. Then what they said, air temperature, if we just relate anything to air temperature with reference to plant water movements or evaporation, transpiration, all these things, they were convinced the other things are for they themselves. And after 100 years, say during the regime of you can say Swinbank, or you can say Jen Hu Chang, all these wonderful scientists at that time, they have added two things with reference to the soil temperature. With reference to soil, what are those? In addition to the air temperature, soil temperature play a significant role in two things. Number one, mineral, soil temperature. The soil has both water and minerals. So, NPK, everything, they get solubilized in the water of the soil and enters into the thing. That means nutrient movement is controlled by soil temperature. Second thing is certain crops. So, say for example, you can say that limit the plant mineral uptake. This is one wonderful thing, and as we discussed in the earlier classes of basics, low air temperature, plant injury, suffocation, physiological drought, heaving, chilling, freezing, like that. As far as soil temperatures are concerned, lithens are formed in the stem portions at high temperature. So, what was taught, what was believed scientifically in 1850s, what was added as far as soil temperature is concerned is or are. Air temperature play an important role with reference to two, exchange of gases, stabilization of the enzymatic reactions, whatnot, everything. In addition to all those things, two things. What are those two things? Mineral movement or mineral uptake by plants is influenced by soil temperature. So here, just please write one or two bits or one or two real applications in the form of bits. You please write. Please write this one. It is considered sufficient for most agricultural purposes. It is considered sufficient for most agricultural purposes to measure only the daily maximum and minimum temperatures of the soil. Daily maximum and minimum temperatures of the soil. Once again, I explain to you what is it. As far as soil temperature is concerned, as micrometeorologists or agrometeorologists, if you measure the maximum and minimum temperatures of the soil at a relatively 4 inches or otherwise 10 centimeters, it is enough for micrometeorological research. Why? Why put your question? Because, please write, this bit will come in the SRF, definitely. JRF not possible. SRF, definitely. Please write. Why? Please write. Swift changes are encountered. Swift changes are encountered by the great heat capacity of the soil. By the great heat capacity of the soil. So, heat capacity of the soil, okay, the soil encounters great changes. So, that's why only maximum and minimum in a day, if a crop of 120 days duration says, let us start from sowing to harvesting 120 days, maximum, minimum, we can relate it. How we can relate it? And then in the practicals I will tell classical example after 2 to 3 minutes, real examples of both potato and maize I will tell. Now here, another important bit, please write practical application. No need to apply. No need for explanation from my side. However, I try to explain to you. First, you please write in a dry state. Humus soils have a lower heat capacity. That is volumetric heat capacity. Okay, humus soils have lower heat capacity or volumetric heat capacity than mineral soils. It is due to low density of humus soils. This bit will come in any form, practical application I will tell. So, what is the heat capacity or volumetric heat capacity? It is the temperature, heat required, heat energy required to raise one temperature of a specific area, say square centimeter by 1 degree centigrade. So, because the humus have less of this one, so this is a practical application with reference to humus. Once again, for your academic benefit, I say in a dry state, humus soils have a lower heat capacity, okay, than mineral soils. And it is due to the low density of humus. This bit will come, that's why I was interested to write and then explain to you. However, in a field, what happens is, organic and fine texture soils, owing to their higher water holding capacity, ordinarily have a higher heat capacity, okay, than coarse soils. Ordinarily will have higher heat capacity. Volumetric heat capacity, okay, they have higher volumetric heat capacity than the coarse texture soils. This bit is also very interesting. But please write this bit, had appeared several times. Practical application bit, please write. Most soils have a heat capacity ranging from dash. 0.3 to 0.6. What is 0.3 to 0.6? Calories per centimeter cube, degree centigrade, calories per centimeter area, okay. When it is gram, okay, we call it as the specific heat. No need to explain to you. Now, please write another important bit from practical application point of view. Please write, the greater the thermal conductivity of the soil. What is thermal conductivity? I told, okay. Fourier's law of thermal conductivity. Okay, several times I explained. The greater the thermal conductivity of the soil, the smaller is the surface temperature variation. Greater the thermal conductivity of the soil, the smaller is the surface temperature variations, and the more effective its role as a its role as a heat reservoir. During the daytime, soil acts as the sink. During the night time, source of heat. Okay, radiation topic also I told. Here, the important thing is that bit will come 100% certain application. The greater the thermal conductivity of the soil, the smaller is the surface temperature variation, and the more effective its role as a heat reservoir. So what is it? See, thermal conductivity. What is thermal conductivity? It is the quotient of course, you see, simple thermal conductivity. It is the quantity of heat flowing. If you take a small how much quantity I had explained to you in the micrometeorology, the climate near the ground there. Okay, in a unit area, how much delta T, a difference D, delta D, Fourier's law of equation. Simple, flowing, unit time, unit area for unit thickness. Unit time, unit area, that is the thermal conductivity. What is the thermal diffusivity? It is a coefficient of thermal conductivity and heat capacity. That's what I told. Now here, very interesting points. Please write 2 to 3 important points. You please write. This is the must. Please write very slowly. I will read. These bits will come. I explain to you. The thermal conductivity of a soil. Okay, that means delta T, delta D, difference, thickness. Okay, and finally thickness. Okay, right. Now your area time, for area time, how much time? 0.004 values. I will tell what is that. The thermal conductivity of a soil is determined primarily by its dash, or you can say all the three. Like what is it? Porosity, moisture, and organic matter content. Porosity, moisture, and organic matter content. Basically, this is basic. No question. Application will come. Please write. For a given moisture content, the thermal conductivity decreases. For a given moisture content, the thermal conductivity dash they will give. The thermal conductivity decreases from coarse to fine textured soils. Why it is due to 3 I told. Porosity, moisture, and organic matter. Or here in the separate bit, due to porosity increase, this bit will come. Of course, another important bit, the cropped fields with fine textured soils. Ordinarily have a higher water content, which greatly increases the thermal conductivity of this bit I told in the Fourier's law of thermal conductivity. Newton's law of viscosity, Fourier's law of thermal conductivity, Fick's law of diffusion. There I told, but that's why I am not stressing the application. Third, small important bit you please write. Organic matter, or this comes in the GRF, not in the SRF. This bit, organic matter does not transfer. Organic matter addition does not transfer heat as readily as mineral soil. This also I had explained to you. Why I am telling is in the micrometeorology of crops, we should just have to application point of view with reference to 2 crops. I told that is the potato and maize, that is the corn. Now here, one application I will tell. The thermal diffusivity of a soil rises. The thermal diffusivity is the coefficient of thermal conductivity and heat capacity. Okay, the thermal diffusivity. Say for example, this wall is heat. When I heat it, how much it diffused? Okay, 0.002 or 0.003. How much energy? The thermal diffusivity. Please write. The thermal diffusivity of a soil rises with increasing moisture content. reaches a maximum and then decreases. Reaches a maximum and then decreases. Okay. Next important point. Organic matter lowers the thermal diffusivity. Please write this important. Organic matter lowers the thermal diffusivity. While under what condition? While you go for packing the soil with the packing the soil, that means rollers, or you can say apply the human labor. Okay, you pack the soil. Okay, while packing the soil, okay, increases it. Thermal diffusivity is increased by packing the soil. Okay, this is organic matter lowers. But by packing the soil, that means when you go for consolidating with the rollers, or you can say applying the human force. Usually we do with the human force in the Asian countries, but rollers in the orchard crops. This is what we do with it. So here, please write this bit will come in the GRF, not SRF. This is what I was telling you 1 minute back. The thermal diffusivities of soils lie between 10 to the power of minus 2 to 10 to the power of minus 3. What is 10 to the power of minus 2? What is 10 to the power of minus 3? Square centimeters per second. Okay, 0.0022 to 0.003. This is what. Okay, this is the range 10 to the power of minus 2 to 10 to the power of minus 3. Now, as I said, let us see application for 2 minutes. What we discussed so far, in the mountainous regions, it is the soil temperature that determines the growth of flora, fauna and growth of animals. That is very important. Second thing we try to understand so far, what is specific heat capacity, thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity, applications with reference to the soils, with reference to the crops. Let us try. So, modifications of microclimate. Only 2 minutes, very, very interesting. Please understand. Number 1, as far as potato crop is concerned, when the soil temperatures are 17 degrees centigrade, the potatoes grow excellent. Up to 29, but beyond 29, the potato size quality is reduced. Number 1. Number 2, practical application, as far as corn crop is concerned, up to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Excellent, no problem at all as far as corn crop is concerned, but it yields decreases, once it crosses or when it goes beyond 82 degrees Fahrenheit. These diagrams also I have drawn over a period of time. Most of my students were shown all these diagrams earlier in my classes. Again, of course, you can say that from where, as far as corn is concerned, from 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. But it may slightly vary depending upon the location and latitude, slightly. But however, the corn yield is a function of soil temperature. That's what I was interested in. I would like to enlighten you. Now, here only 2 minutes I will take with reference to ways of regulating the heat. Heat is the energy. So, you wanted to modify the soil climate. Okay, how you can regulate it here? Okay, in the micrometeorology weather modification I have told, but here in the micrometeorology you should know basic techniques. Now, insulating the layer of the soil. How we insulate it? Either green twigs of the trees or dried twigs of the trees or a paper or whatever is insulating material we apply. Whether we wanted to increase or decrease the soil temperature, insulating material is one technique. Second technique is the heating, or if it is cold temperature, we go for heating. If it is very, very hot, okay, we go to reducing that means cooling the soil. Basically, 3 modifications are there. Please understand. Number 1, evading the heat load during the summer, trapping the heat during the winter, increasing the water content at the rhizosphere, that means root zone of the crop, and controlling the wind speed and wind movement and wind direction by shelter belts or wind breaks. These are the basic techniques of micrometeorology. Here in the micrometeorology, with reference to the soil temperature, first one is the insulating layer, second one is heating or cooling, like anything. The third one is the changing absorptivity. You wanted more reflectivity, go for white. You wanted more heat to be stored, go for black powders or anything, you can do it. Now here, wind machine or shelter belts. Why and how wind machines are used, I have already told in the basics. Simple wind machines, when we see, if it is too hot, okay, cold wind is blowing, it will make cold. So similarly, shelter belts or wind breaks also modify the soil temperature. Now, last 1 minute, modifying the thermal properties of the soil. How we can modify the thermal properties of the soil? What are the thermal properties? Heat capacity, volumetric heat capacity, specific heat, thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity. Again, by all these means only. However, with some basic principles of micrometeorology, what we do is, like here, absorptivity. Number 2, thermal conductivity. So how we can change the thermal conductivity? So we can plow the soil. We can make the soil very much open. Okay, number 1. Number 2, by rolling, that's what I told. Rolling means heavy. Okay, we can go for consolidating the soil by rolling rollers. And third one is the irrigation. If soil temperature is 40 or 35, when we give the irrigation, it comes down in within 2 to 3 minutes to 20 degrees centigrade by irrigation. So that means, conductivity. Once we, as I said 4-5 minutes back, thermal conductivity, we can change it with the moisture content of the soil. Now, again, the heat capacity. What is the heat capacity? I told volumetric heat capacity. 1 degree centigrade. How the energy required to increase in a area. Okay, area 1 cubic centimeter area ki, from 1 degree centigrade to 1 degree centigrade increase you wanted. Okay, in that, how adding or draining the water. Either we add the water or drain the water. And the last one is rate of evaporation. How we can change the rate of evaporation of the soil, okay? By going for weeding. By going for weeding, also by all these techniques, by application of all these things, okay? Another thing is that by, some sort of mulches, absorptivity, absorptive power we can change. That also helps in the evaporative soil. So here in this class, what we tried to understand is soil temperature play an important role in micrometeorology in with reference to particular high altitude areas or mountain areas. How specific heat, volumetric heat capacity, thermal conductivity, thermal diffusivity is applied. Then practical examples of maize, that is corn, and potato. Again, how to modify or how to control the energy and how to modify the microclimate. So this is what I would like to say. Thanking you for your patient hearing.